Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler, author of A Saga on Home Video, a fan's guide to U.S. Star Wars home video releases, which you can find on Amazon and elsewhere. We're taking a look here at something that's incredibly frustrating and continues a saga of incredibly frustrating stuff that we have seen lately. For those of you who don't want context, because sometimes people are like, just show me the product, feel free to fast forward. On YouTube, you can usually do that by scrolling over and it'll show you a little, preview image until you see me holding the product, because context in this case matters. This is, by and large, not just a collecting series, not just a product showcase, but an educational series on context within Star Wars home video. And we are going to be taking a look at the context here, even though the product look itself should be fairly quick. So you may recall that back on September 22nd, we had one of the biggest, in fact, I think the biggest blitz of new Star Wars home video releases of all time here in 2019. That was when Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment, that is the company that is the home video arm of Disney, released all 10 of the live-action Star Wars films in 2 different releases simultaneously. So a total of 20. There were 10 of them that were Blu-ray digital copy multi-screen editions, one for each film, and there was a DVD-only version for each film. And what these were differed depending on whether we were looking at the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, the Lucas films, or looking at the A Star Wars Story or sequel trilogy films, which are the Disney era stuff. So you had your 10 Blu-ray digital packs here. What was the big deal and what were they? Because I swear if I have to answer the same question for the 100th time again, I'll blow my gasket. Thankfully, I probably just won't answer the question again. Suffice to say, this is the part in the video where I talk about the product and explain what it is, what version of the film it is. So, if you're not going to watch the video, don't ask me in the comments, hey, does this have, which version is this? Is this a 2011 version? It's gonna be in the video, damn it. Anyway, so, what this means for the Lucas films, like Phantom Menace there, okay? Big deal was that, A, it was the very first time that any of Lucas's 6 films had been released by Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment. Previous to that, it was 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment and the earlier precursors thereof, like Fox Video, CBS Fox, 20th Century Fox Video, etc., etc. Okay? Then, you also had the fact that that was the first time ever that those were released with digital copies included, that it never happened for the original or prequel trilogies before. Now, the question was, what are they? Right? Well, for the Lucas films, what we had was the film disc for each film, along with a digital copy code. The films on the discs, those were the 2011 cuts. They just took the same author DVD that we saw in 2011 in the complete saga set and the trilogy sets, in 2013 in the Blu-ray DVD combo packs, in 2015 in the reissued complete saga set, and in 2017, in the Walmart exclusive released Complete Saga set that was just called the 6 movie collection on the slipcover, but you pull it off and it still says Complete Saga, and trilogy sets of the Blu-ray DVD combo packs again from 2017. So the same version we had seen, the same authored Blu-ray that we had seen since 2011. The only difference being the fact that they put a new label on each one. That was it as far as the discs went. And then it was just new packaging. As far as the digital copies that you would get, they are the same digital copies that you would get all the way back to 2015 when the Star Wars films, the original 6, were released digitally for the first time. Which means you have all of those bonus materials, but the discs themselves only have what was on those 2011 discs, which is the audio commentaries, right? But you still have all the bonus stuff that you would have gotten with the regular digital copies back in the day. And in fact, that does mean that A New Hope has a 20th Century Fox fanfare. The other 5 do not. They have that truncated fanfare because you had that thing back in 2015 where Fox had the distribution rights in all forms for A New Hope in perpetuity, and yet only had the physical media distribution rights for the other 5. Digital was a different story, so they could pull the Fox logo off of it and release it otherwise. Now, that all being said, what does that mean in relation to what we are seeing now? Even though these are being released in late 2019, these are not the versions of the films that are on Disney+. The digital versions that are available through services like iTunes, Movies Anywhere, are not the same versions as are on Disney+. There are only so far minor changes being noticed, one real minor change being noticed, and that's the new Greedo line about Maklunki, the "this'll be the end of you" kind of thing. That is that added Greedo line between "yes, I bet you have" and the actual shots in the Han or Greedo shot first scene in A New Hope. Otherwise, though, what you're seeing on Disney Plus are the films as they were restored and boosted up to 4K as part of the mastering process when turning all 6 of those films into 3D versions. Only Phantom Menace actually made it into theaters. That was in 2012. It made it into the upgrade, converted to 3D, put out in theaters. You saw the upgrade happen and conversion to 3D for Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Those showed up at Star Wars Celebrations, but that was it, only once each. The original trilogy we never saw actually get a 3D conversion at all, if it ever got it, though hopefully they did so we can see it someday. But the conversion process went through, at least the part of the process, because they were enhanced into 4K. And that's when Lucas did the tinkering to add the extra line for Greedo. Okay, that means that the ones you see on Disney Plus, if your hardware is right, will be Ultra HD 4K, the first time the films have been released at all in 4K for the original 6 or for Force Awakens and Rogue One, for that matter. They're in 4K. They're HDR, which means high dynamic range, so it's either HDR10 or Dolby Vision, depending on your system, and then Dolby Atmos as the top level of sound options, okay? So the highest end version of the films that you see on Disney Plus, the pay service, is not what you see here, at least as far as resolution goes. From what I can tell, other than that change to the Greedo scene, though, the cuts of the films are still the cuts from 2011. They've just been enhanced and sharpened along the way. Okay? But no, the version of A New Hope released on home video here in these last few months does not have the McClunky line in it for Greedo. That is just Disney Plus. It's not even in any of the other online services at this point. Those are still the 2015 copies. Okay? So, we have the 2011 version of the original 6 films being released for the first time by Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment, first time with a digital code, same old disc again though, just with new labels. Digital code included with them, just the same old 2015 digital version we've been able to get for years, except now it's a free add-on for this so-called multi-screen edition. For the Disney films in those Blu-ray and digital combo packs, it was kind of a step backwards. Yes, it's new packaging. Yes, you get a digital copy and all the digital bonuses that you get with like Movies Anywhere and such when you actually redeem the code. And yes, you got the film disc on Blu-ray. But you did not get the bonus disc that usually had bonus features on it for any of those films. It was film disc, digital copy. If you want bonus features, the bonus features are on the digital stuff, not a physical disc this time. And the discs themselves retained their original labels from their first release. And the disc authoring is from their first release. Doesn't matter in the case of Solo or Last Jedi or Rogue One. In the case of The Force Awakens, it does, because remember the first release was the one before the 3D Collector's Edition. It does not have the audio commentary by J.J. Abrams. That only came later and only in the 3D Collector's Edition. Okay, so we know what these are. As to the DVDs, again, 10 of them released alongside those. Now what are those? Again, depends on the era we're talking about. No slipcovers on any of them, no inserts in any of them. In the case of the Disney-era films, it's just the same DVDs that we got with those initial releases of The Force Awakens, Rogue One, The Last Jedi, and Solo. No label changes or anything. In the case of the Lucas films, okay, the original 6, in those cases what we've got here are the DVD versions of the Blu-ray cuts that have been showing up on DVD since 2013. So it's the 2011 cuts, but they weren't on DVD in 2011. They wound up finding their way onto DVD in 2013 in the Blu-ray DVD combo pack, were reissued as part of the Blu-ray DVD combo pack in 2017. They also even were the ones that were used as the basis of the Navajo translated edition, at least in the case of A New Hope. Okay? So it's the same old DVDs that we've seen since 2013 in this case. In the case of the original 6, they changed the labels to match the new labels for the Blu-rays. Okay? So all those releases, all 20 of them, were old stuff. In some cases, the Lucasfilms with new labels that had some milestones to it, of course, but for the most part were just repackages where the newest stuff was the packaging itself. Okay? Great. That, remember, was a pain in the ass, because when they first came out, a lot of places didn't have them, many places didn't have all of them. It was really a struggle to try to find these things, and Walmart seemed to be the worst hit because most Walmarts had none of them. In fact, I don't think any Walmarts had any of them. We wondered why. We saw those back in episode number 221 of this series, if you want to see them in depth and actually see inside any of them. We then jumped to episode number 229 a few weeks later into October, and sure enough, Walmart has released a series of exclusive versions of these, at least of the original trilogy. We looked at those in 229, like A New Hope here, and they all had this sticker on them, denoting the fact that inside is concept art or other production art lithographs, little mini lithographs that are kind of postcard sized. But you could tell that it's the exclusive, which at the time were the only ones Walmart had, because of the sticker on them that said so, telling you what was inside. But the interesting thing was that the little symbol on here said, Commemorative Edition, Skywalker Saga. It was only the original trilogy. And again, it was a pain in the ass to find these. Many stores have never gotten these. Some stores have gotten some, but not the others. In my case, Paul De La Rosa was a godsend because he was able to get me Empire Strikes Back, where he was, and I was able to get him A New Hope and Jedi, where I was, and we wound up sort of, having ships passing the night there so that we actually were able to both have a complete trilogy. But none of the other films were anywhere to be found. And aside from those lithographs and the little sticker denoting that they're in there, they were the same as the ones from September 22nd, just a few weeks earlier. So we sort of caught our collective breath. No one's seeing anything other than the original trilogy? We're good. Kind of a pain in the ass that they released them at a different time than the ones just a few weeks earlier. And kind of weird that it's only the original trilogy when it says Skywalker Saga, because you would think that that would, if not meaning all 10, at least that would mean, the 8 that are part of the 9-episode Skywalker Saga that ends with Rise of Skywalker that presumably they're trying to lead up to here. But no, just the original trilogy. And at one point, Brian Snook, you may recall, made a comment, "Hey, I just saw the prequel trilogy at Walmart." About gave me a heart attack, and that was the point. He was making a joke. I just wanted to see if I could give you a heart attack. It turns out that Brian was kind of a soothsayer and didn't know it. He sort of was able to tell the future. Because a few weeks later, the other 5 got released. And here we are with this episode. So, as much of a pain in the ass as it was to get those 3, even after the difficulty of getting the other ones, now we're into another part of this cycle of this stealth release that has had stealth exclusives where Walmart is showing its absolute and utter incompetence at actually getting these products out in a decent distribution. I would love for Walmart to say, we're rolling back prices, but we're rolling out product. Instead, it's more like we're rolling back competence and rolling back our distribution, and it sucks for collectors. But collect we do, right? So the first inkling we had that there were any other ones was when James Snow, not Jon Snow, right? Not someone who knows nothing, someone who actually knows stuff and looks for good deals on, eBay. James Snow posted an image to the Star Wars Home Video group from a thing that he's able to pick up on eBay. It was Attack of the Clones. It was one of these from Walmart. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And sure enough, very soon thereafter, a man by the name of Ryan Dunn posted to one of the videos on my YouTube channel that, yes, there are more. And his Walmart was the miracle Walmart that actually had all of them. Now, it was just 1 through 8. No Rogue One, no Solo. Those do not appear to exist. But I don't want to say they don't exist ever. They probably just don't exist yet. But I'm hoping that it's just Skywalker Saga, but I'm not going to put anything past them here. He was kind enough to turn back around, just like Paul De La Rosa did, and the next day, after we talked, run off to his Walmart and grab those other 5 for me. So that's what we want to show you here. Now, to make this hunt more difficult, understand that Walmart now finally has stock of the original September 22nd releases. So you must look for the stickers, okay, they'll have the films. They may even have all the films, though my Walmarts, all the ones around here had like 2 or 3 of the Blu-rays, if that, and then all the DVDs pretty much. And none of the exclusives at all for this next round. Only one of the 4 had any of those original trilogy exclusives. So understand that distribution on these sucks just as bad, if not worse, than for the original trilogy a few weeks earlier. And it is now complicated by the fact that it's not just the Walmart website that's selling the regular versions instead of the exclusive versions. Most stores have the regular versions too, but not the exclusive versions. You're going to have to be careful if you're trying to hunt these. And again, I would argue that you should probably join the Star Wars Home Video Facebook group that Justin Berger runs and that I moderate, because it is one place you can actually go to coordinate with other fans to try to get these damn things if you are trying to get them. All right, enough preface here, enough context here. Hopefully this all makes sense. Please understand that in part, I also look at these not just as educating the audience, but this also, the more detail I go into, allows me to refresh my memory when I'm working on the book. When I'm working on a Saga on Home Video 2nd edition, I can remind myself of the bullshit, like what happened with, the September 22nd, then a few weeks later, and now a few weeks later again crap that's been pulled with these releases here, rather than going back and researching stuff. So, hopefully that context is appreciated for the most part. But again, for those who don't appreciate it, hopefully you have skipped forward. I warned you ahead of time. If you didn't, it's your fault. Don't bitch at me. All right, the new 5. It's the sequel trilogy films and prequel trilogy films. The style is done the same way, okay? We're not going to talk about anything but the exclusive little lithographs inside, because the products are exactly the same as September 22nd, and the approach to them is the exact same as what was taken with the original trilogy a couple of weeks later. Okay? We've already done those in episodes 221 and 229. So we have the Phantom Menace here. There's your sticker, typically located on this side over here. As for the actual lithograph, again, you open it up. You pop that sucker open, you have your digital code, and before anybody asks, I always tend to give the extra digital codes to friends of mine or family members, usually in these cases while I take the Disney Movie Reward codes and I just give the digital copies to friends of mine. So asking, hey, can I have all your extra digital copies? This is not the place to do that. All right, this is the Phantom Menace's lithograph here. It says Concept Art by Doug Chiang, copyright 2019 and trademark Lucasfilm Limited, little product number, and in the corner there it's got the Star Wars logo with Phantom Menace. Then you got Attack of the Clones. Its lithograph is also concept art. Cool Battle of Geonosis stuff. Star Wars Attack of the Clones, concept art by Ryan Church. And Revenge of the Sith. Right? What's weird about these is they seem to keep changing location on the covers, but when you look at multiple copies of the exclusive, they tend to all have the stickers in the same space. I guess it's just an automated process running through a machine that's just slapping the stickers on the same place, but there's no uniform place on the box where the sticker always is. But the sticker will be on there. Don't psych yourself out by going to a Walmart and picking up one of these with no sticker on it, and go home thinking you got the exclusive. If it doesn't have the sticker on it, do not assume it's the exclusive. Assume you just bought the one from September 22nd that Walmart finally friggin' has in stock. Another piece of actual concept art here for Revenge of the Sith. This one by Eric Tiemens. Then we have The Force Awakens. When we first saw that Attack of the Clones was out when James ran into that, we actually didn't realize that it was going to include these until Ryan let me know that he had seen 8 of them as opposed to just 6 of them. So he kind of gave us the heads up that the sequel trilogy ones even existed. As far as the concept art here, this should look familiar because it's from one of the covers, I believe, for one of the art books. I don't tend to pick up the art books myself. It's Doug Chiang concept art again. Nice right there. And finally, if you want some heartbreaking art, we have Last Jedi. And you may have just noticed it there, if you were very quick to spot it. It's basically the Luke about to fade into the Force concept art there. And that is by Seth Engstrom in this case. So like I said, the product look actually doesn't take very long. It's the context that matters in this case in a lot of ways, and that's what's going to take up most of our time, as it did, as I predicted there. So again, 5 new ones, no Solo, no Rogue One, as far as we know so far. If you happen to run into Rogue One or Solo for those, please let me know. I may wind up having to ask the favor of you that I asked of Paul and of Ryan to try to get my hands on these things, because otherwise I have no idea how I would. Again, the other 3, the original trilogy came out a few weeks ago. Apparently, in most places that have these are also on shelves with them, but that was not the case a couple weeks ago when it was just the original trilogy that seemed to have been released. But beware that these are out there on Walmart shelves now too, as are the DVDs, but the 10 of the Blu-ray DVD multi-screen combo packs, or the, Blu-ray digital code multi-screen edition combo packs, remember, if it doesn't have the sticker, that ain't it if you're looking for the exclusive. It's all about that sticker. Not that the sticker is what makes it exclusive, as someone tried to say, which is asinine, but the sticker is what tells you that it's exclusive and what is inside it that makes it exclusive. I can't believe I had to spell that out for somebody. Whew! So, again, try to coordinate if you're trying to get these. It is very difficult to find them all in one place. Another friend of mine, Justin, he traveled, I think he said, to 10 different Walmarts to try to get his hands on all of these. I was able to get a couple of them to him. He had a family member in another place that was able to find one, and that was of the original trilogy, and then he tried to canvas for these other 5, and it took him 10 Walmarts to manage to get them all. This is not a collecting thing for the faint of heart. It's stressful if you're trying to get them all, and quite frankly, Walmart has made this more difficult than it should be. I would argue at this point, and I rarely offer, opinions from a business approach standpoint, even though I am an econ teacher, but I rarely offer those opinions unless specifically asked. But I will say this time. Walmart, if you cannot distribute your exclusives more effectively, or even announce your exclusives more effectively, you shouldn't be putting them out at all. You shouldn't be getting them. Which in turn means Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment, you should never ever again give Walmart an exclusive of anything. They couldn't even get Solo's exclusive right, because their exclusive for Solo was just the Blu-ray with no digital code, which by itself is kind of asinine as an exclusive, and eventually that wound up showing up at Best Buy as well, weeks or months later. But on actual launch day, most people couldn't even get their hands on that. And that was a major release, not this stealth release crap that was pulled back in September, which is a whole other thing. Please. We love the Star Wars films, we love collecting this stuff, we know that home media is probably a dying thing in the face of Disney+, but if you're gonna put out new releases, and you're going to give exclusives to certain stores, make sure you've got your shit together, and that they've got their shit together, because otherwise, we're gonna be the ones eating the shit. Figuratively speaking, of course. Nice releases, but damn, could they make this harder? With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers. Especially if you're trying to get your hands on these, because as Han said, you're gonna need it.